Ladies and gentlemen, we are back after of course, after we just said that we were going to get back into it. I immediately had to go away for like 4 days.
It's all good. I put up some games. I know that we said we were going to get out steady content. We're doing that, but Adam had to go to his grandmother's house to prepare for the winter.
Prepare the house for winter. The house is like 200 years old, and you need to do that to a 200-year-old house. Otherwise, bad things happen.
Yeah, so we apologize for the small hiccup, but we're back. We're not waiting like 3 weeks to give you content.
No, we're
here
back.
Bright and early.
Bright and early. We've already had our discussion complaining about life and wanting to basically just jump off the roof of a building. That happens every time. And then once we get that out of the way, we get into Starcraft casting. Because now we get to... Now we're not sour anymore, and we just get into the happy fun times. Mr. MaximusBlack.
Uh-huh.
Hit me up with the sound of Farm Simulator 2015. Yep. It's a chainsaw.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you give it fucking Major Awesome. He cuts down all the trees on the farm and plants them directly in the middle of all pathways.
I tuned into your stream for a minute and I saw that you were playing it and I was like, no, I can't even. I can't even watch this shit.
So there was obviously a lot of just. It was funny. I had just epic music playing the whole time I was collecting trees, right?
Gross.
And so it made it much more viewable. However, there was lots of just like regular ass moments just of me just collecting shit, and then every now and then some truly hilarious shit would fucking crop up and it totally made it worth. Awesome. Outside of that though. Yeah, you gotta have some endurance to be watching somebody play Farming Simulator.
We should definitely duo up a simulator. I don't think farming would be one for me because I would get so bored so quickly, and then I would just lose my skull.
I just don't know which ones are co-op that we could do that aren't gonna bore you out of your skull.
Yeah, true.
Now, there's like
trucking
short.
Simulators.
I own Euro Truck or whatever.
Anyway, we'll figure that out. Maybe we'll try it. We'll try something like that.
Up here in the top right, we have Shofu. And in the top left, we have Krusty something.
We're gonna call him Crust. Krusty.
Just Krusty.
Krusty the Clown.
Krusty the Clown. Except that was with a K, wasn't it? Krusty
yes,
with a K.
I do believe so.
Krusty with a K.
All right, so we've got PVZ.
Yes.
Also, guys, there is a new season.
Yes.
All the classic maps are back.
Classic maps.
Please get your ass back into Starcraft.
Yes.
Play some games and send them to lag.tv. I've been laddering quite a bit.
Yes.
And the old maps are fun. Shakura's Plateau, Zelnaga, Metalopolis. I mean, we're talking the classics that we love and hate. They are all back. So please send us in some good quality games, some cheese fails, whatever the case may be, so we can cast them.
And do me a favor, every time you submit a game, at least write a little bit of a description of the game, because there's been a lot of people just submitting games with no descriptions. Mm-hmm. That makes it hard for the game reviewers and everything else. It's just we don't want to go in completely
Put in a little
blind.
blurb.
Just something.
Let us know what happened.
Just something.
Let us know what happened. If somebody raged, if it's a Forgate, if it's a...
And a description does not count if you just say this game has to be casted.
Yeah,
because that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, and that shouldn't. That's not a description. That's just you hoping and praying.
Wow, the music is really loud. I'm gonna turn it down just a tad bit. Just feels really loud.
Tad bit cuts it in half.
Yep, there we go. That's better.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a PVZ, obviously. There's not a whole lot happening, but the good news is Legacy of the Void was just announced at BlizzCon. There's going to be some doubly good news for you guys. For one, I'm going to be playing that game exclusively when it comes out.
So I'm so excited, Jim.
I'm going to be playing a lot of Legacy of the Void. Not only because it looks awesome.
Yes.
But because it looks awesome. I mean, we're not going to get into balance talk here. I'm actually going to be, for those who watch my movie reviews, I'm actually going to be reviewing what we've been given so far on Legacy of the Void, and I'm going to hopefully have that up this weekend.
Great.
So I'll let you guys know when that comes up. You guys can get my thoughts about the units, the direction that the game is taken. But the good news is, you know this boring shit where we're just talking about, like, you know, the crazy shit we had last night or whatever?
It should be reduced.
It should be reduced, as now you're going to be starting out with 12 workers, and they're basically going to be skipping the really boring first 5 minutes of the game, and it's going to become very, very aggressive. There's a lot of new aggressive units, and it's just going to call for an exciting game, not only to play, but to watch and to cast. So I'm very, very much so looking forward to Legacy of the Void. I think they're taking things in the right direction. Do I like some of the units? Absolutely not, but like I said, I'll talk about those later on. But either way, the direction that they're taking the game, I feel is much needed. Although you can't make RTSs popular because MOBAs really have taken over, but I can see what they're doing with this. They're making the RTS not as boring. They're speeding it up. They're making it a little bit funner to watch. I think the games are going to be a bit shorter because of that and more intense. So I'm excited.
Yeah. I'll since I'm not doing a big video series, I'm going to say this. Shit's going to look a little faster. Units are currently broken as fuck, but there's still lots of time.
Yep.
And my only concern with the whole concept of 12 workers is that while it might speed up the early tech that everybody is doing in the unit production, is that since everybody else has that exact same thing, it's just basically the same playing field, skipping the opening bits. So when you know your opponent also has early units and everything else, it might speed it up, but it's not going to speed it up that much.
No, it's not going to speed up drastically, but it is definitely going to get rid of this, you know, nine pylon.
Yeah, it might get into like skirmishes a little earlier, but it's not. I
think though with that with there being 12 workers, you can immediately go into like Robotech. You can immediately go into Stargate play almost. You know what I mean? You can essentially get a pylon right away, chuck down a gate core. Like the minerals will go up very quickly, which will change the game a bit. It really quite a bit.
It will.
We'll see what happens. You know, it's not even it's an alpha, so we'll see.
Oh, it'll be alpha before the day it releases.
Oh yeah. Well, here we go. cRuSty.
It's a lot of links, but there's also 3 cannons.
Yeah, there ain't nothing that's gonna happen here.
No.
Man, the sounds are loud too, dude. Everything is really, really loud.
Is the game just like? Why is that at 100%?
Yeah, it's very, very
That
loud.
should be at 30.
30. That's
and now put the music.
Yeah, put the music
back up to like 30 as well.
Yeah, because that's just.
And then see how that works.
Oh yeah, much better, dude. Much better.
Yeah, because we'll see after this video. We'll listen to the audio levels. That must have been an update or something that randomly decided.
We do apologize though if the audio's a little.
That was really weird.
A little out of whack
because nothing has changed.
We'll get that fixed up for next game for sure. So that Ling attack really did nothing, and both players really did nothing while we were talking. Protoss immediately went to 3 bases.
And then just decided to build SimCity.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We don't actually know the league of this game. When we boot up the replay, it's an older replay, so it doesn't actually show us the portraits, so we couldn't really tell.
Yeah, we
Judging
couldn't tell.
by what we're seeing here, I would say it's
I'm
probably
going with
gold, high gold.
I'm going with gold.
Maybe platinum. Just judging because this guy just took 3 base. He's sitting on 72. So I mean, the probes and drones are nice, but he doesn't have an army. He's on a 93 supply at 11 minutes on 3 base. So
yeah, I'd say it's using the gold range.
Probably around gold. Zerg here going to be going for swarm hosts, and lots to talk about for that for Legacy of the Void as well.
Swarm hosts are a pretty good unit in Legacy of the Void as they stand.
Yep, pretty.
Locusts can fly.
Yep.
As if that needed to happen.
It's gonna happen. Really excited about the Lurker though. I think the Lurker is like a.
I just like I think the Lurker is going to be useless, but I like the concept of the Lurker being in the game.
Yeah, me too. It feels more like Starcraft.
It's like having a carrier, even though carriers right now are basically useless, except for that 1 in every 1,000 Starcraft games.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that it's in the game.
Yeah. No, most certainly. Yeah. So we're pretty much at a stalemate here, guys. We're just waiting for these players to do something. He's going a bit of air. It's kind of a weird unit composition. I'm not sure how this is going to fare out against swarm hosts. These immortals are going to do absolutely nothing. If he can get enough phoenixes, they're good against swarm hosts because you can obviously pick them up. They can't produce locusts.
Yeah, with the observer, you can make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. But how many Zergs really allow that to happen? Usually when they go out with these things, they go out with some queens. So
Static
they can,
defense everywhere!
They get spore crawlers, they get the queens, they can transfuse, obviously. Here comes a nice little attack down here at the 4th. Looks like he might be able to clean this up.
Oh, he should be able to clean that up.
Oh, we do have a recall here of just 2 units.
2 units.
Oh, it's going to be enough to scare him away at least, and he's going to go over here to the 3rd, and there's no cannons at the third.
But the rest of his units are there.
So really, he didn't do shit.
It wasn't a hell of a lot that happened there. He got a couple of units out of it, and that was it. I would have just gone right through and just gotten rid of probes and just sacrificed these for the sake of it. Right now, he's just running around. He's getting scouting information. He's seeing a fleet beacon. He's seeing the number of gates. He's seeing everything else. He's seeing that there's a cannon here to make him feel bad about himself that he's going to attack it anyway. I don't know why.
Well, he could have, Shofu here could have just attacked with the probes while he was attacking the cannon
and lost pretty much like one probe.
If that, yeah. But he didn't, so now he loses probably 5 or 6 probes and the cannon and gets his army in a position. But cRuSty is not taking advantage of that. He could have then moved his swarm hosts up into position while that was happening.
Those plasma shield upgrades.
No, don't see those very often.
Damn.
You know you're getting into the late game and you have a lot of cash. When
and you're just like, all right, it's officially time to get plasma shields.
I'll get plasma shields.
I honest to God, I mean, like, plasma shields are really only useful in very specific matchups. This is not one of them.
No, I don't think so. But if you got the cash, why not do it?
Well, look at this god go. Look at this god going immediately into Tempest. So he's gonna have Tempest, but he also has Vipers. So. The last game that I saw looked exactly like this, and I keep referencing this game because it was such a long and crazy rare game, was Zest versus Life.
Yeah, I actually didn't watch that.
It was an hour, it was 60 plus minutes.
Well, I'm scared of that, so I'm actually going to speed up this this timer until we get into something here.
Oh, yeah.
And here we go, caught out of position.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Swarm host going to manage to grab 2 of them, and that was it. I'm surprised he didn't lose a lot more there, now burrowing down. Gonna get those locusts out. You gotta be careful of these Vipers. You're gonna pull in some of these Void Rays. Gonna grab the Mothership Core, but the Hydras aren't even in position. Grabs it for the second time.
Got it
there
anyway.
We go. The Hydras and Corruptors able to pick him off.
That double yo-yo.
Wow. Okay, so this unit composition here can work. If he gets more Tempests, he should be able to just blow everything. Oh, jeez. Oh, I thought that was
no, that wasn't
just destroyed. I was like, what the?
No, the Tempest didn't just nuclear bomb that one area. No.
Okay, it scared me there for a second. I was like, holy jeez, when did they get so powerful? I need to start using these.
No, but Tempest against Swarm Host when you're in a big map like this, and it gives both players a little time. Just the nature of having a bigger map allows you to get some of these units. Tempests are pretty much the only way you can fucking deal with this. Just not because of just a swarm host and outranging them by air, but it's the spore crawlers is your problem.
You can't get near them.
No.
And this is the problem that I have with StarCraft in its current state is Zerg can do this shit, and it calls for long, boring games. And really, the only thing that Protoss can do at this stage is like you said, go Tempest. Try and just pick this shit off little by little while Zerg continues to macro in behind here, at least a good Zerg, or you start doing some drops. And that's exactly what we're going to see here, but unfortunately, he's supply blocked, or maxed out.
He's maxed out.
He's not going to be able to do anything
here.
It's
more like scouting, and he's going to get a Zealot.
2. 3.
Oh, he's losing some
things here.
Okay,
great. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So he's got a couple of Zealots here, which is going to force... Wow, that's a little bit of a... Okay, he might be overreacting a little bit there.
Yeah, so they're just.
Oh God, no! Don't lose your. Oh God, no! No, God, no!
Not like this!
No!
Not like this! Not like this! First of all, why do you have so many bloody observers? That's my first question.
I don't know.
Second of all, did he mean to kill them all just to get extra supply? I have no idea.
Well, you kind of need observers to see the swarm host, so I would hope not.
Oh, here comes the Vipers. Then there they go.
And his whole air
just got evaporated.
Just gonna die here.
Just
a
evaporated.
Horrible, painful death.
Oh God.
He needs to warp in here. He needs drops all over the place, and he just needs mobility.
No, this is where you just lose. That's it. He's already lost.
Wow.
There it is.
No.
He already that's GG.
Wow.
I mean, the Protoss had the right. He went a little heavy in the Void Ray section.
Yeah.
But he had the right idea, is that when you're up against this, you do totally need pretty much nothing but fucking Tempest. Like, I'm not even joking. Yeah. You're just pretty much all Tempests.
It's one of these things, at least in my experience, either you have a lot of Colossus to deal with the...
to stop the Locusts from advancing.
Locusts, right?
Yeah.
And the Colossus will shoot down these spore crawlers as well, but the thing is if you're not building... Like, this guy went air, and I have a lot of people... on my stream say this shit too, and it's kind of irritating to hear this, but when you're in a game and you're going air Okay, for example, you want to open up Phoenix, you're starting off Phoenix, and then they immediately transition into, corruptors to deal with the Phoenix because, Phoenix suck against corruptors, plain and simple. Even when you have the upgrade, it takes, they're like centuries to whatever. They tickle the damn things. So they go corruptors, they get these, Vipers or whatever the case may be. So, but what I'm trying to say here is he's going air, okay?
Sure.
So he's committed on air.
Yes.
Okay? You cannot just, in the middle of it, it's easy to say at the end of a game, shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's easy to say, obviously in this...
Well, you can't just decide that, this is only 19 minutes into the game. You can't just decide, I'm just going to max Tempest.
I'm just going to max Tempest. Or I've already gone Tempest. Now I'm just going to immediately just get Colossus. The problem is for one, he's maxed out. Okay? Yep. For two, if he goes into Colossus... he's going to almost need to pump 4 of them out at a time. Because 1 or 2 Colossus is not going to do shit. Not only are they just going to get melted by corruptors, just immediately, but there's so many swarm hosts that the Locust will just run them down. There's not enough DPS. So at the end of a game like this, it's easy to go, oh, well, he should have had Colossus. Well, you can't discard the entire game that happened before that.
Leading up to that. Yeah.
He is stuck in a situation where he's forced to commit on what he started. You cannot just transition because during that transitional period, he's going to get raffled. If he just starts building Colossus, they require a lot of supply. While they're building, there can be attacks that are going to be happening. You need to have units. You need to warp in. He's got 77 probes, so there's almost half of your damn supply right there. Yep. You only can have so many units, right? So yes, for what he had the right idea. These drops needed to happen sooner. The DT drops need to have happened, and he needs to pick off tech. He needs to make. You notice when he did a fucking 3 zealot warp in, he took pretty much his entire army there to stop it, and that's when you push. That's when you go in when his Hydras are out of position. That's when you go in with your Void Rays and such to try and do damage, or at least poke at this to break it down a bit. Try and get these swarm hosts to back up, start taking rid of some of that creep, even though you lost all of your observers. But the key here is swarm hosts are good units, but they're slow as tits. You need to do drops, multiple drops. One up here, one down here. Pick apart the Zerg, force him to come into you, and then just draw it for the long game, and it's still not guaranteed that you're going to win. So he did his best there, but the game just snowballed. There was really no chance he was going to win this. So that's a little bit of my rant.
I'm gonna give you my uneducated rant.
Okay.
Now that you had an educated rant, I'm gonna give you an uneducated one, because this is LAGTV and that's what you get. All right. This is what I've witnessed after watching you, specifically, Mr. Black, play a lot of Zerg, and have a very similar problem to this gentleman here, just at a higher level, obviously. Is that here's the defining thing. The defining thing here is the magic words tech switch, right? For a Protoss to tech switch, it is infinitely more difficult and time consuming than it is for a Zerg to tech switch.
Absolutely.
For the very reason that for a Zerg to tech switch, his unit producing structures are his hatcheries. For a Protoss, that is not the case. You need to go out of your way to produce totally different structures, and many of them to accomplish the same thing that a Zerg does just by having hatcheries, which it does anyway by nature of Zerg. That is what they have to do. They expand everywhere. So, because you don't have the ability to tech switch as fast as a Zerg, they just get, a Spire, and they're covered for 2 extra units. They just get...
it's nothing for them to drop down a Spire or an Infestation Pit, which they have to drop down to go to Hive Tech anyway.
So it's all kind of planned out for them anyway. It's much easier. So... Either if I'm playing this game, and that's not going to happen ever, but if I was playing this game, not this one specifically, but Starcraft, and I was against a Zerg and I was playing Protoss, is that I would entirely focus on, and it's hard because Zergling counters are like the death of all Protosses when you're trying to be super aggressive against a Zerg. Their main advantages are hatcheries. You can't let the third happen. You stop the third, Protoss is going to win.
And you nailed that. That was actually a pretty educated thing you said. It wasn't completely stupid.
Well, that's good.
And there is much truth to that, because the majority of Protoss builds, it requires you to attack the third. There is a timing in which, if you're doing a 2-gate or a 2-base blink all in +2, you're going to go and hit the third. You don't really... sometimes you want to hit the natural, but it's very map dependent, because depending on where the third is, you can actually get concaved, and they come around from each side.
Yeah.
It is definitely suggested that you hit the third, you take it out, and at most cases, when you're doing an all-in, you just either win or you lose. But sometimes you can hit the third, destroy it, and then recall home, and then kind of turtle up and wait for the inevitable counterattack, and if you hold that, you're in a great position.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is absolutely correct, and I'm not sitting here shitting on Zerg. The fact that they can do tech switches is when people watch StarCraft, and I'm talking this out of experience, where I'll lose to a Zerg and they go, well, you should have had high temps to deal with the Hydra, but they don't realize that I've done a 2-base all-in, and those are meant to win. And if you don't win, chances are the game is lost. You've invested so much gas into your Blink, into your 2 upgrades, into your Stalkers, that you can't afford to just go into high temps because he's getting Hydra. You have to just make it work using micro. And if he sees that you're coming out the map, if he has good Overlord placements, if he's constantly looking around with speed links and he catches you, game over. That's just the way it is. It's not shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's my build, my timings are done. That's the beautiful thing of Zerg, is they can tech switch very, very quickly, like what Adam said. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that they're overpowered because they can do that. That's just part of their race. It's just, as a Protoss player, you have to know when to attack. It's all about timings. If you give Zerg too much time, they just become almost impossible to beat. You really have to outplay them, and you have to do much more to stop Zerg after a certain point than what they have to do to just kill you. And that's just the reality of it. And unfortunately, Shofu in this game got to a stage where he allowed the Zerg to do this. And when this happens, it's just hard to break it. Look at it, for Christ's sake. You've got Corruptors, you've got whatever the fuck these things are, Vipers. You've got Spore Crawlers all over the place. Yep. You've got the Swarm House. This is a very hard thing to kill. It doesn't seem like it, but it is. These things nonstop pop out. You're not going to walk in there with ground. So,
no.
I know we're doing a lot of talking here. Hopefully you're getting something out of this, and sort of the thought process to a Protoss player. It looked bad, but that's pretty much all Shofu could have done, especially at this level of play.
Oh, sure, 100%. I think, absolutely. So, absolutely. That's just it.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully you guys get some sort of thing out of this. Coming from a Protoss standpoint, I don't play Zerg, so I can't really tell you about in detail what goes through a Zerg's mind, but I can definitely tell you how shitty it is to go up against this as a Protoss player, specifically when you've already committed to something and you need to really go something else to get rid of it, but you just can't, because the moment you try to go into that, you just die. That's just how it is. So anyway, long first game. It's a 22-minute LAGTV video.
Hey, it's the first one in a while.
It's the first one.
You got to make it.
Yeah,
you got to make it a little longer.
But I'm excited. I'm excited for Legacy of the Void. I cannot wait. There's some really cool game modes that are going to be coming up. There's the Archon mode where 2 players control 1 base, which I think is going to be fantastic for when Cheese fails Archon. Why am I saying Arcane?
I have no idea.
Archon mode.
Yes.
I think that'd be really cool to see 2 people Cheese. And see if it fails or wins. 2 different cannon rushes happening simultaneously.
It's definitely an interesting dynamic that we'll get to be able to.
Oh, it's gonna be fun
to watch. So
yeah, it's gonna be a good time. So anyway, I'm excited. Hopefully, we can get this beta the moment. I'm sure we will. The moment it comes out, and we'll get you guys that. But anyway, we're still at Heart of the Swarm, not Heroes of the Storm.
No,
Heart of the Swarm, and we'll see you guys on the next cast.
Peace.